When you think of a cinematic masterpiece, what comes to your mind? Is it the flawless pacing and amazing storytelling of a movie like The Shawshank Redemption? Maybe it's the technical marvel and amazing world building that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. How about the amazing writing or compelling narrative of The Godfather? Or even the incredible dialogue and performances in The Dark Knight? Well, I want you to keep those so-called masterpieces in the back of your mind because they absolutely pale in comparison to the objectively, undisputedly new greatest movie of all time, which is Amazon Prime's new original film, War of the Worlds, starring Ice Cube. Okay, now, all jokes aside, I can pretty confidently say War of the Worlds might be the worst movie I've ever seen. And if it's not, it's pretty close. It's not a serious movie, so it does not warrant a serious review, but it is so awful that I just had to talk about it. So we're going to have some fun talking about how terrible this film really is. War of the Worlds was clearly a COVID-era movie that was released in 2025. War of the Worlds follows Ice Cube's character, William Radford, as he sits in an office in the DHS headquarters in Washington, D.C., watching an alien invasion play out on his computer screen. Yes, you heard that right. The entire movie is happening on Ice Cube's computer screen. Now, the first thing about this film that stands out is the horrific acting. Literally every character is just holding up an iPhone talking into it, and that is how it was shot. Never once when you're actually watching this movie do you get immersed into thinking you're watching William Radford fighting, like combating aliens on his computer. You're literally just watching Ice Cube sit in Zoom calls and FaceTimes. Like, pretty much every scene is, it shows his computer screen and he answers a phone call and then it cuts back to his face and he's sitting there disturbingly looking like this. Or he takes his glasses off, or he makes a realization. It's so funny. Every scene is exactly the same. So as the movie is going and the plot begins to progress, William Radford makes the discovery that the aliens are actually there to eat data. That's what they're gonna eat. So that's the general plot behind the movie. The aliens have invaded the Earth in order to consume the data the Earth has. Now, the CGI and the VFX look like they were made on an iPad app. Like, this is Action VFX Movie Maker. We've got like green screen missiles hitting the screen. I feel like every single shot looks terrible. It's so funny to see because it's happening on a computer screen. So it's like on a FaceTime, but it still just looks awful. Like it's very clearly composited in computer generated images. It is the greatest CGI disaster I think I've ever seen. Then like there's one point in the movie where Radford sends an FBI agent like on a house raid of some kind, like she's gonna kick a door down, and so she has her body cam so we can see through that, but she still stays on the FaceTime call and vlogs it the whole time for Ice Cube. It is hilarious because there's a whole subplot about some hacker, and it genuinely, it's everything is shot like I said, vertically on an iPhone selfie cam style, which is also a good time to talk about the fact that every contact in Ice Cube's computer has like their agency they're tied to. For example, the guy who works for the FBI is saved in his contacts list as Steve FBI, or someone who's pretty important to the story, which is his friend Sandra, who is like the director of NASA, is just saved in his phone as Sandra NASA in all caps. It's like, it's just to point out to the audience like, oh yeah, this is who this really is. It's so funny. And then throughout all of this, as these scenes are happening, Ice Cube is just progressively talking out loud to himself. You know, like he discovers something, he's like, oh, I got you now, you alien.
Get away from that! Get out of there!
Speaking of that office where the entire movie takes place, it's like all green screen. So Ice Cube is sitting in an office chair, and then instead of an actual background behind him like this, it's just a green screen pulled down behind him, and then they composited a DHS office behind him. Like every scene, you can see something reflecting in his glasses, and it's like green. I don't know if they put a green screen on the computer in front of him or what, but he's clearly not looking at whatever's happening actually in front of him. I'm like 90% certain every character is reading their lines off whatever screen they're looking into at any given time. And I'm fairly certain that you could find some frames in this movie where you see the script reflecting off of his glasses. But that's not the funniest thing that happens with his glasses, because there's a big reveal towards like the mid to ending point of the movie. And Ice Cube makes a big discovery, and to really tie this in, the director or cinematographer, if that's a real person, or I'm fairly certain this is AI, but it does a big Hitchcock zoom where, like, you know, it zooms in on him as the background zooms out. It's a very common thing you'll see in movies, and you can see his glasses start to disappear, and like there's green screen artifacting on his beard and hair. It's so funny. The green screen, it is so poorly done that it's like his glasses are starting to literally disappear in front of your face, like little frames of him, and his beard is looking all clunky, and it's the hardest I've laughed watching a movie in a while, watching that scene happen. Now, to get into a bit of the spoilers as we get into the end of the movie here, because it's so bad that I need to tell you about how the movie ends. The big reveal is that Agent Coulson started a whole surveillance system called Goliath, and it's gathering all this data, so the aliens want to eat that specifically because it's the most data they could possibly eat, and the servers are under the DHS building. This is also the point where the movie turns into a giant Amazon commercial. So what we didn't talk about is Ice Cube's daughter. Her name is Faith, and she has a boyfriend or something like that named Mark, who is an Amazon delivery driver. Mark is played by Devin Bostic, who has quite possibly the funniest filmography ever, starring in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Roderick Rules, Diary of a Wimpy Kid Dog Days, Oppenheimer, and Ice Cube's War of the Worlds, which is the greatest 5-film run in history. But there's a scene in the movie where Ice Cube's daughter is hurt, so Mark runs in to help her out and pulls out like packaging tape, like Amazon Basics packaging tape, to use it as like a tourniquet to put pressure on the wound to stop the bleeding.
No, Mark, no! You gotta get something else, man. You need a tourniquet.
Trust me. I'm a pro.
That's not gonna work.
So the big plan for Ice Cube at this point is that he's gonna team up with his son, who's like a big hacker man, like he's breaking into the mainframe all the time, and they're gonna download a virus onto the data eaters, the tripod alien things. But somehow also his daughter is like a biologist who created some kind of cannibal biological eating device virus thing, and they're gonna team up and they're gonna do that all together, I guess. But first, Ice Cube's gonna blow the whistle on the Goliath system, so he opens up YouTube, signs into his son's YouTube account, whose password is like so weak, and he drag and drops a .zip file. You can't watch a zip file. And that was hilarious in its own right. Now, though, they got to get the virus, so he needs a USB stick. But the problem is he doesn't have a USB stick, and the DHS building's been shut down because they're sent B-2 bombers to go level the building. Now, the funniest part about the B-2 bombers is they constantly cut back to show the pilot flying the B-2 bomber, and he's clearly sitting in like an F-22 or an F-18 or something, and it's just not a B-2 bomber. But either way, they're going to come level the DHS building. So Ice Cube needs a thumb drive. Good news is Mark has an Amazon Prime drone and a thumbstick. The problem with that, though, is that Ice Cube has to directly place an order on Amazon to get the thumb drive, to activate the drone. So Ice Cube goes onto Amazon and places an order for a thumb drive, and the drone activates, and now Mark is going to fly the drone to Washington, D.C.
We only got one shot at this. Are you sure you can get it here?
Don't worry. I fly like a bird. I can soar like an eagle with this thing.
Okay, Mark. I believe in you.
So as Mark is flying this Amazon Prime drone to the DHS building, some of the aliens start trying to attack it. So Ice Cube's son, Dave, has to commandeer a Predator drone to shoot down the aliens.
Right.
But the Prime drone crashes next to a homeless guy on the street. So in order to get the homeless guy to flip the drone, they send him a $1,000 Amazon gift card.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So now the drone's here, and Ice Cube's running down to the server room, and the drone is also going down to the server room, and the aliens just broke in, so they're going down to the server room, and we get one of the funniest continuity mistakes, in my opinion, of this movie. Ice Cube is on a FaceTime call on his phone. He's supposed to be FaceTime calling, because they keep showing us his family watching the FaceTime call as he's running to the server room, but they're also cutting to different security camera angles or the drone angle, and you can literally see on his phone, it's just a selfie video. Like, pull out your iPhone right now, set it to selfie video and record. That's what you see on the screen. It's not even hidden. They cut back to it multiple times. It is clearly a selfie video, not a FaceTime. It's hilarious. I was laughing every single time they cut to the scene of him holding his phone with the selfie video. It's the best mistake in this movie, and it's constant. And then we have a scene where he plugs the USB drive in first try, but they clearly were struggling with it because he goes to plug it in, and then it just cuts to like a completely different area as someone drops the USB drive into place.
I love you guys.
So that's pretty much how the movie ends. There's all the fallout. Agent Coulson gets arrested, and they're scrolling on Twitter, and even Joe Rogan tweeted about the Radford family. And you think William Radford's dead for a second, but then it's revealed, oh no, he's alive. There's a whole bunch of fallout. It's hilarious. I was not paying attention at this point. I was just dying of laughter. And that's how War of the Worlds ends. It is the worst movie I've seen in a while, probably ever. And I would recommend everyone watch it because it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. This is the perfect year for this movie to come out, to get a little more serious for a second, because the year has been all about slop. I mean, the highest grossing movie of the year is a live action remake. The next highest grossing is the Minecraft movie, which is one of the biggest slop piles of a movie I've ever seen. Well, in fairness, it's true Oscar-worthy cinematic masterpiece compared to War of the Worlds. But it's obviously a sloppy mess, as well as freaking Dinosaur 7, The Final Reckoning, Dominion Rebirth being one of the highest grossing films of the year. Every Marvel film that's come out has been a chopped together mess. The Superman movie was a brain rot TikTok movie. Everything has been slop, and I feel like War of the Worlds is the best way to summarize how film has been in the year 2025. So seriously, if you have an hour and a half and an Amazon Prime subscription, do yourself a favor and watch Ice Cube's War of the Worlds. It is one of the funniest films ever made. Thanks for watching.